Toy Story 5 has finally hit theaters, and we've got the most important details to show you. Who's ready to play once again with Woody, Jessie, and Buzz? A Bug's Life. You know Pixar loves referencing its own movies all the time, and the tree from A Bug's Life shows up once again right at the beginning of Toy Story 5. Anyone familiar with Pixar's older movies knows they made a film called A Bug's Life, where the ants live near a crooked tree. This is the very same tree where Jessie and Emily used to play many years ago, and in the memory we see from Jessie's past with her first owner, it appears once again. And get ready, because this isn't the only reference to other Pixar movies. Whether it's in part 1 or part 2 that we're putting together, the Toy Story 5 details start right now. You already know, right? Another Cinewave is starting! Address. In Jessie's memory with Emily, we discover that the girl's address was 1200 Road Ranch, and to you, this might not even seem like an Easter egg, but trust me, it is! The number 1200 is exactly the same as Pixar's official address in the United States, but this time with a small change. Since Jessie and Emily were two cowgirls, they would have to live on some kind of ranch. In real life, Pixar is located at 1200 Park Avenue in Emeryville. Even so, the number is a direct reference to the studio that made the movie. Pretty cool, right? Face. Speaking of Emily, for the very first time we actually get to see her face, and that's incredible because it's something Toy Story fans have wanted for years. More than 20 years to be exact. This is super important because all this time, many of us believed that Emily was actually Andy's mom, the first child from Toy Story. But now we can finally let go of that theory because young Emily looks nothing like Andy's mother. Even so, it's really nice to finally have that confirmation. What do you think about it? Reference. Now get ready to see something very old and at the same time extremely nerdy. Maybe you've never watched the TV series Lost, but there's a huge reference to that early 2000s show. In the very first scene of the movie, when one of the Buzz Lightyear toys wakes up after an accident, we discover that the Toy Story 5 animators love mystery stories because the scene is almost identical. Buzz opens his eyes and sees a few trees, just like Lost's main character Jack, and then he discovers that an accident happened and that he's stranded on a deserted island. Symbol. One thing everyone needs to understand is that the moment the Buzz Lightyear army wakes up, the Star Command symbol lights up on his chest, and that's super important because in this movie, the new toys are an updated version of the astronaut, and that's a clue about the future. From now on, we're going to see this happen with toys. They're stronger and have more technology, just like Lilypad, and these Buzz Lightyears can even fly. What do you think the toys in Toy Story 6 will be capable of doing? eBay. In the first scene where Jessie is arguing with Lilypad, the tablet makes a reference to a company that exists in the real world. Lilypad searches for Jessie dolls being sold online and uses a website called eBiddy. That website is a reference to eBay, one of the most famous online marketplaces in the world, and interestingly enough, it was founded in the same year as Toy Story, in 1995. Battery. At the moment when Buzz and Woody are fighting Lilypad after sabotaging her battery, something very interesting happens. Lilypad is barely functioning until she finally regains her strength once her charger reaches 50% battery. This happens because real-world electronic devices often only start functioning properly once they reach around half a charge, and it's really cool that the animators included that detail. Do you usually play with toys that use batteries, or are you more old school like Woody and Buzz? Comment the hashtag toy so we can get to know each other. Sammy. Still talking about that fight scene, something really interesting happens. Woody comes up with the idea of using Sammy 2's paw, Bonnie's pet, to touch Lilypad's screen because the toy's plastic and silicone hands can't interact with a tablet screen, but a salamander with a sticky paw definitely has that ability. Pretty cool, right? Bandana. Going back to Emily's memory, we have something really interesting to show you. Jessie's first owner wore a red bandana around her neck, but there's actually an animation mistake in this scene. Emily first appeared in Toy Story 2, and back then her red bandana had horseshoe patterns on it. But now in Toy Story 5, that same piece of clothing has stars on it instead. Did the animators simply not pay attention? Or did Jessie not remember exactly what Emily looked like? Or maybe the girl had two different bandanas, you never know. Movie. Now, this movie really focuses on Jessie's past, doesn't it? And on the history of cinema too. During Bonnie's first play session, when she's acting out the wedding of Forky, something terrible happens. Someone poisons Rex, and Jessie raises her hands to the sky, wondering why this happened. This dramatic scene is actually a huge reference to a cinema classic called The Shawshank Redemption, when the main character character raises his hands to the sky while heavy rain pours all around him. Toy Story also pays tribute to classic movies. Landing. During the wedding play scene, Buzz Lightyear arrives to save Rex and makes his entrance by doing something that, in movies, we call a superhero landing, which is when the main hero lands in a super stylish way. This happens in a lot of movies. In Marvel's Deadpool, the superhero landing even becomes a joke when a female villain does a scene like that. Eggman. The company that created LilyPad is called Eggman Technology, and anyone who knows the Pixar universe well knows that this is actually a major reference. In the very first movie, back in 1995, more than 30 years ago, Eggman is the same company that owns the moving truck that helps Andy's family transport their furniture to their new house. Apparently, Eggman shifted from being a trucking company to becoming a tablet manufacturer. Age. Still talking about the past, this movie showed us that Jessie really is an old toy. In the scene where LilyPad is looking at cowgirl dolls for sale, we get to see the year Jessie was created, 1955. That means Jessie is 71 years old. She really is getting pretty old, and so is Woody. Maybe it's finally time for Jessie to retire, just like Woody did, don't you think? We'll have to wait and see what happens to her in the next movie. Toys. In the boat dock scene, when the Buzz Lightyear army is almost caught by a night guard, they drop to the ground to pretend they're sleeping or that they're just toys. Of course, at that point, they didn't know they were actually plastic toys, and that's super interesting for one reason. When they get back up after the danger has passed, they say it felt strange to throw themselves onto the ground, and we know that's because they're toys. But the revelation here is that something already programmed them to pretend they're lifeless objects. There's a new video here every day, so subscribe and hit the bell to stay up to date. LilyPads. Something we didn't know before, but that was confirmed in the movie, is that Bonnie's LilyPad is unique. The other LilyPads owned by her friends are different because they represent different animals. Bonnie's LilyPad represents a frog, while the others, the tablets belonging to her neighbors, are represented by a ladybug, a beaver, and even a bird. Which one would you choose? Couple. Now, answering a question that fans had been wondering about ever since the movie was announced, we wanted to know whether Woody and Bo Peep were going to break up. This movie gives us a very clear answer, and the answer is no, they do not break up. Woody really does come back to help his friends, but this is only a visit and not a return to Bonnie's house as one of her toys. After Woody helps Jessie and Buzz, he goes back to be with his girlfriend. So if you were worried that their relationship was over, you can relax because Woody's return isn't a big deal at all. Disney. In this movie, Bonnie makes a new friend. Her name is Blaze, and she lives in the same house where Emily lived with Jessie many years ago. And something interesting about this girl is that she appears in a photo taken at Disney. This is the first direct Disney reference ever made in a Pixar movie. The girl is standing in front of the castle and wearing a Mickey Mouse hat. This is really cool for a simple reason. Just imagine how many toys must exist inside Disney parks. And this could even be setting up something for the future because if Woody and Buzz ever go to Disney, they'll find a place where toys never lose their magic. That would be really interesting to see, wouldn't it? Pajamas. One thing almost nobody noticed is a detail on Bonnie's pajamas. Her sleepwear is blue with clouds on it, and that's a reference to Andy's wallpaper, which looked like a blue sky filled with white clouds. Hair. And finally, in one scene, we discover that Emily had a daughter named Jessie, named after the doll from her childhood, and that the girl liked wearing her hair tied up with a bow that had 2 yellow balls on it. That bow is inside the box Jessie finds buried among the tree roots, and the girl must have buried everything there when they moved away. Will we ever get to see Emily's daughter in Toy Story 6? That would be really cool. So make sure to stick with us for all our videos because we have a part 2 packed with even more Toy Story 5 Easter eggs for you, but only if this video gets plenty of likes. We've left 2 videos on your screen so you can choose and keep having fun with us. See you in the next video.